a bit of a shakedown. We just finished the Larapinta Trail after, I don't know, 14 days or something, 13 days out in the desert. So I thought I'd go through my stuff quickly. I've already exploded some of my stuff. We'll just go through it quickly. So I took the Lecky poles, had the gloves for the poles, they work well. Wide brimmed hat, really needed out in the desert, or some kind of protection for your neck. Z-mat that I use to sit on. It's a really comfortable thing to sit on the rocks. Joe and I used it a lot to sit down, and it goes under my neo air at night, just to give that bit of extra protection from spin effects and stuff from my inflatable mat. Got the wide brim Nalgene. Ultralight guys will hate it, but I reckon it works well. C-Knock with a Catadin filter. The Catadins have the best flow, but they tend to block up quick. If you get in clear water, they work for a while. And on the Larapinta, most of the water's pretty clear. Some of the water holes, though, would block up a filter. So I like this. I bring it again, but yeah, other people might change the brand. Got my camp shoes over there, my hiking Havaianas. InReach, probably pretty essential. You've got some kind of communication device out there. And head torch. Rest of the stuff, yeah, it's not too important. In this little bag here, I've just got odds and ends. It's a Mountain Gear Hyperlight Dyneema little organising bag type thing, because the pack's a one piece job. I won't go through everything in here, but it's just where I keep my car keys, my head torch, my first aid kit, my electronics gear. Everything goes in this Dyneema little bag that's waterproof. Yeah, this is just my little towel. I used a bit of sponge for a towel when I was swimming in water holes or having a wash. Sunscreen, 100% in the desert. There's not much shade. The pack itself is a Wind Rider, I think, and it's a 65 litre Dyneema job from Mountain Gear Hyperlight. I've used it a lot. So far it's never wet out. We had 2 or 3 days of rain on the Larapinta. Never wet out, never looked like wetting out. And on my other walks in the real cold, it's never wet out. It will eventually wet out, but I think they're pretty good. This is my food bag. So I keep my food in a dry bag, and I just kept it at night in the pack with the dry bag done up and my pack rolled up. Pack rolls up like a dry bag. Never had any trouble with mice or dingoes or anything like that. I'm not saying you won't, but it works for me. Took a puffy, used that. We had a few cold nights. For camping away from the tanks, I had a MSR dromedary. It holds 4 litres, weighs next to nothing, and it's pretty indestructible, so I reckon they're good. Chapman, John Chapman, the legend, used his book. Highly recommend his maps and books where he's got them published in Australia. He's the gun guidebook writer in Australia, I think. What else we got here? The rest is going to be closed. So I had socks. I had 4 pairs of socks. Now I picked some up in food drops, so I didn't carry these all the way. There is another couple of pairs floating. I've got one on still. There's some in there still. Thermals. I probably had one hoodie too many. I had this hoodie in the sleeping bag. I had a long pants. This is my cooking setup. In here is a cooker, which is what is it?
It's a pocket rocket.
MSR pocket rocket. It's as old as the hills. I might look at upgrading that eventually, but at the moment it's working. It's one of the first titanium pots with a homemade cozy on it to keep it warm. I'm not going to explode it. Everyone's got their own setup there, but that's what I use, gas. This is my little toiletries. I keep them in another dry bag. So I've got toilet paper. Now on the Larapinta, every toilet except for the last one had lots of toilet paper. But you don't want to be caught short, so I always carry toilet paper. Got a trowel, got hand sanitizer. Sanitize the taps when you're getting your water, because people tend to come out of the toilet and go straight for the tap. And then we tend to go for the tap to fill up our water bottles. So just a little trick that Joe has put me onto is sanitising the tap. It's a good thing. So carry plenty of sanitizer. There's the gas bottle that goes with that. I carry my triplex ground sheet. I use my duplex tent. Triplex ground sheet gave me a little bit more floor space when I was camping without the tent. I did cowboy camp sometimes. That's a Dyneema ground sheet, weighs nothing. Z-Pac's raincoat, on the days that it rains. Z-Pac's, what's it called? Yeah, you have to Google this one. Z-Pac's, it's their lightweight rain jacket. It never wetted out. It's Gore-Tex. It's got pit zips. Does me fine for these kind of walks where it's not going to rain for weeks at a time. Neo Air X Therm. I think it's got an R value of about 6.9. Combined with my little Z mat there, I've got no problem with cold coming up from underneath. Z-Pac's duplex tent. Had to use the big rock, little rock technique sometimes. Tent itself handled the wind. We had some big storms, and we were in soft sand, and it stood up really well, surprisingly enough. Yeah, this is so these are my recovery tights that I wear in my sleeping bag. They're TXU, but to be honest with you, it was too hot on a loose walk to wear them, so I possibly could have left them at home. I use a sleeping bag because I'm old and soft, and I shove my little pillow and a few clothes in there just to give me a bit of room. I'd take that again.
It's a pillowcase, isn't it?
A pillowcase, yeah, with a bit of elastic around to hold it in place. This hoodie I probably could have just done with one hoodie. I wore this one when I was walking and the other one in my sleeping bag. Probably overkill, probably could have done without that. Okay, I'll get back to this. What else have we got there? This is my short sleeve thermal, which I used when I was washing clothes at Stanley to wear as a t-shirt. Worth taking. And a buff when I was cowboy camping to put over my eyes on the full moon nights to block a bit of the moon because it was a bit bright a few times. Probably worth taking, doesn't weigh much. And my blow up pillow, which is a luxury, but I am old and soft, so it doesn't weigh much, bear with me. Alright, that's pretty much it for the pack. Feel that case. This is the one that's heavy, and we possibly, in hindsight, could have gone lighter. So both Joe and I carried our snow bags, thinking we could get temperatures well below zero, and we ended up getting temperatures sometimes above 10 degrees. So we were both a little bit warm, me in particular, who always sleeps warm. So I carried my Mont bag. I'm not sure, I think it's a Brinda Kyandra, extra long, so it probably weighs 1.5 kilos. It's super warm and super comfy, but in hindsight I probably would have bought a quilt, my quilt, which is good down to about -2, and just lay it up. But so yeah, that's one thing, but you know, if you had got -5, I probably would have loved this. So it's hard to know really sometimes. But yeah, look, that's a quick shakedown. There wasn't much we used that I didn't like. You know, everyone's got their own comfort levels too, but I was pretty happy with my choices, and I'm pretty happy I've dialed in most of this gear over the years, and it seems to be working well for me. But that's about all I've got, so catch you next time.